Hi guys, I'm Raul from Simplilearn, and today I'd like to welcome all of you to this training video on Azure. So here we have two friends having a conversation with each other. One of them says that her company is moving all of its physical data and migrating it onto the cloud. She says that they're using a cloud service provider known as Azure. Now here's the problem. She doesn't really understand how cloud service providers work or even how the cloud does. Her friend decides to help her out. So in this video, here's what we're going to talk about. First, we'll talk about what is cloud computing, what is Microsoft Azure, what are the services that Azure offers, and then we'll have a look at a use case where we'll be applying one of these services to get a particular job done. Now for the first question, what is cloud computing? So cloud computing actually provides a platform through which you can access resources. Now these resources include servers, storage, application security, and other ways you can transform your data or get some use out of it. Now at the same time, you can also store, manage, and process your data. Now anything related to cloud computing is made possible only with the help of the internet. Now along with these things, there are several other things that you can do with cloud computing. Now let's have a look at some of the ways cloud computing is making our lives better. Firstly, you have services for just about every requirement that you have. Then you get access to the newest and most innovative technologies in the market right now. Cloud computing provides cost-effective solutions with flexible pricing. Now most cloud service providers work in such a way that you only pay for the amount of time you use that particular resource. Then you have one of the most important selling points when it comes to cloud computing, which is that data and applications are accessible from any part of the world as long as you have access to the internet. And finally, you have increased protection for your data and applications. Now you should know that there are several cloud service providers in the market right now, be it Amazon Web Services, Adobe Creative Cloud, Google Cloud Platform, and so much more. Now, among all these platforms, there's one that's growing really fast, and that is Microsoft Azure. Now let's ask the question, what is Microsoft Azure? Microsoft Azure is actually a cloud service platform that allows users to build, manage, scale, and deploy applications by giving them access to cloud services. Now these cloud services range from creating virtual machines to creating functions that run themselves without having to worry about hardware. Now all of this is made possible only through the internet. Now here are some things that you need to know about Azure. Firstly, it was launched on the 1st of February 2010. It has data centers in more than 42 regions across the world. They also say that 12 more data centers are in the making, which helps them say they're the only cloud service provider that covers these many regions. Next, Azure is preferred by 80% of the Fortune 500 companies, which means that the best of the best in the market only choose to work with Azure. And finally, Azure is the second largest cloud service provider in the market right now. Let's talk about Azure services. As I told you, Azure provides services for a wide range of domains. Now let's have a look at some of these domains. There's AI and machine learning, compute, containers, database, identity, management tools, networking, security, storage, and so much more. Now let's have a look at some of the individual services within these domains. Firstly, you have Azure Virtual Machines. With Azure Virtual Machines, what you get is the opportunity to create Windows or Linux virtual machines. Now all of this is possible in a matter of seconds with a large amount of customization. Now let's have a look at some of its features. Firstly, you can choose from a wide variety of virtual machine options. Then you have a large amount of optimization available to you. For example, what size of operating system do you want? How much size do you want allocated to it? What version of the system is it? And so much more. Then it provides low cost and per minute billing. Now Azure provides you per minute billing, which means that you're only charged for how much time you use the service. And finally, you have enhanced security and protection for your virtual machines. Next, we have Service Fabric. Now with Service Fabric, you have a platform which enables you to create microservices. Now this also makes the process of application lifecycle management a whole lot easier. As a direct result, you can create applications with a faster time to market. It supports Windows, Linux, on-premises, or other clouds, and it enables you to do a tremendous amount of scaling up depending on your requirement. And finally, we have functions. Now with functions, you can build applications with the help of serverless computing. Here, the users only pay for the amount of resources that they've used. You can create applications in any language that you want. And the only thing you need to worry about is the code of the application. Everything other than that, that is the hardware requirements, are taken care of by Azure. Now let's have a look at the networking services. Firstly, we have the Azure CDN, or the Content Delivery Network. With Azure CDN, what you get is the ability to deliver your content with reduced load times, fast responsiveness, and less bandwidth. Now, CDN can be integrated with several other Azure services so that the process can move at a faster rate. It can handle heavy loads and traffic spikes with ease. It also provides a robust security system. Now, with the content that's delivered, you can get advanced analytic data with which you can understand how customers are using your content. Next, we have ExpressRoute. With ExpressRoute, you can connect your on-premises network to Azure through a private network. Now, by default, this lowers latency. It increases the emphasis on reliability and speed, and it can be of great use when you have to transfer large amounts of data between networks. Now, another way this can be useful is if it's used to add compute or storage capacity to data centers. Next, we have Azure DNS. Domain Name Service or Azure DNS can be used to host your domains on Azure. This provides high availability and great performance. It provides fast responses to DNS queries by taking advantage of Microsoft's global network. It also provides high availability. Next, we have Virtual Network. Azure Virtual Network allows the Azure resources to communicate with each other or other on-premise networks via the internet, and all of this is kept extremely secure. Now, with this, users can create their own private network for communication. It provides users with an isolated and extremely secure environment for their applications to run. Now, all of the traffic stays entirely within the Azure network, and it also allows users to design their own networks. Next, we have Traffic Manager. Now, with Traffic Manager, you can route incoming traffic to improve your performance and availability. Now, one thing it provides is multiple failover options. So if a particular situation goes wrong, there's always an option to consider to salvage the situation. It helps reduce application runtime and enables the distribution of user traffic across multiple locations. It also helps the people who are using it to know where the customers connecting from across the world. Next, we have Load Balancer. With this, you are provided the ability to instantly scale applications at the same time providing high availability and improved network performance for users' applications. It can be integrated into virtual machines and cloud services. It provides highly reliable applications. It also allows users to secure and integrate security groups. Finally, we have Azure VPN Gateway. Now, this allows users to connect their on-premise networks to Azure using a site-to-site VPN. Now, this allows users to connect their virtual machine to anywhere in the world through a point-to-site VPN. And also, it's very easy to manage and is highly available. Now, let's talk about the storage services. First, we have Data Lake Storage. Now, with this, what you get is a scalable data storage with an emphasis on cost effectiveness and scalability. Now, it comes of maximum use when you integrate it with other services so that you can get analytics on how the data is being used. It is also integrated with other services like the Azure Blob Storage. Now, it is also optimized for big data analysis tools like Apache Spark and Hadoop. Next up, we have Blob Storage. Now, Blob Storage provides a storage capacity for data. Now, depending on how often a particular data is used, it is classified into different tiers. Now, all the data that is within the blob storage is unstructured data. Now, it has a way of ensuring that the data integrity is maintained every time a particular object is being changed or the data is being accessed. And it also helps improve app performance and reduces bandwidth consumption. Next, we have queue storage. Now, with this, you have a message queuing system for large workloads. This allows users to build flexible applications and separate functions. Not to mention, with this, you can be sure that your individual components will not fail. It also makes sure that your application is scalable. Queue storage provides queue monitoring, which helps ensure that the customer's demands are met. Then we have file storage. Now, with file storage, you can perform file sharing with the help of the SMB protocol or the Server Message Block Protocol. Now, this data is protected by SMB 3.0 and the HTTPS protocol. In this case, like we mentioned in functions, Azure takes care of all the hardware needs and the operating system deployments on its own. It also improves on-premises performance and other capabilities. Lastly, we have table storage. With table storage, you can deploy semi-structured datasets and an NoSQL key value store. Now, this is used for creating applications which have a flexible data schema. And also, considering how it has a very strong consistency model, it's mainly aimed for enterprises. Next, let's have a look at some web and mobile services. First, we have the Azure Search. Now, with Azure Search, you get a cloud search service which is powered by artificial intelligence. With this, you can develop web applications as well as mobile applications. Now, one big advantage is that you don't have to set up or manage your search indices. Azure takes care of that. And by extension, it increases your development speed. The artificial intelligence also will provide insights and structured information that you can use to improve the search and structured information. Next, we have logic apps. Now, with this, you can create integration solutions which can connect applications that are important to your business. Now, with this, you can visually create business processes and workflows. You can integrate SaaS or software as a service applications and enterprise applications. And more importantly, it allows you to unlock data within a firewall and securely connect to services. Next, we have web applications. Now, with web apps, you can create, deploy, and scale web applications according to business requirements. Now, it supports both Windows and Linux platforms, and it helps with continuous integration or deployment abilities. Another very important aspect of this is that the data can be deployed and hosted across multiple locations in the world. And finally, we have mobile apps. With mobile apps, you can create applications for iOS, Android, and Windows platforms. One advantage is that it automatically scales up and down based on your requirements. Now, in situations where you have network issues, offline data syncing ensures that your applications work anyway. And you can create cross-platform applications or native applications for iOS, Android, and Windows. Next, let's have a look at some container services. First, let's talk about ACS or Azure Container Services. It is also known as the Azure Kubernetes Services, as it's a fully managed Kubernetes container orchestration service. Now, what this means is that it eases the process of container integration and deployment. It also can be used with other resources from security like virtual networks, cryptographic keys, and so much more to ensure that your container is kept secure. Next, we have container instances. Now, this is similar to functions in a way, just that in this we're using containers without having to manage servers. Now, applications can be developed here without managing virtual machines or learning new tools. All that is Azure's problem to take care of. And it enables building applications without having to manage the infrastructure. That is, all you need to worry about is running the container. Next, let's have a look at some database services. First, we have the SQL database. Now, with SQL database, what you get is a relational cloud database service. Now, this means that it helps accelerate your app development and makes it easier for you to maintain your application. Now, SQL database is also used extensively in migrating workloads to the cloud, and hence saves time and cost. It also helps improve your performance by integrating machine learning and adaptive technologies into your database. Next, we have Azure Cosmos DB. Now, this is a globally distributed multi-model database service. Now, what this means is that with this, you can create applications which support NoSQL. It provides a high-grade security system, has high availability, and low latency. Now, this is usually used in situations where you have a diverse and highly unpredictable workload. Now, let's have a look at some security and identity services. Firstly, we have the Azure Active Directory. Now, if you want to know more about Azure Active Directory, I suggest you click on the top right corner and watch our video on the Azure Active Directory. This is just an introduction. So with this, you can manage user identities and you can make sure the resources are kept safe with the help of access policies. Most of these are intelligence driven. Now, one of the main features is that you can have access to your applications from any location or device. It helps increase your efficiency and helps down cutting costs when it comes to having a help desk. It can also help improve security and can respond to advanced threats in real time. Next, you have Azure Active Directory B2C. It helps provide customer identity and access management in the cloud. Now, protecting customer identity is extremely important for an organization, and that's what Azure AD B2C does. Now, it also enables the application to be scaled to great amounts, even billions of customers. Next, we have the Azure Security Center. This is basically like a command post with which you get a complete view of the security across users on your on-premises and cloud workloads. So with this, you are given a threat protection method that adapts to situations and helps reduce exposing you to threats. It also has rapid threat response and makes the process of finding and fixing vulnerabilities a whole lot easier. Next up, let's talk about monitoring and management services. So first, let's have a look at Azure Advisor. Now, Azure Advisor is basically a guide for the best practices when it comes to Azure. Now, when you follow these, it improves performance, security, cost, and increases availability. Now, it also learns from how you use the services on your configuration and usage pattern, and the adjustments that it suggests can be implemented very quickly and easily. Next, we have Network Watcher. Now, with this, you can monitor, diagnose, and understand the working of your network. Now, you can monitor your network without actually having to log in to your virtual machine. Now, you can also use something known as network security flow logs to understand the traffic pattern, how much traffic is coming towards you, how much you're giving, and so much more. It also helps diagnose VPN problems that you might have with detailed logs. And finally, you have the Azure Resource Manager. Now, with this, you can ensure that the resources that you have are managed and deployed at a consistent rate. Now, this makes it extremely easy for you to manage and visualize your resources that are used in your applications or some other requirements, and you can control who can access your resources as well as perform actions on it. And now, let's have a look at how we can use one of these services to satisfy a particular requirement. So the friend asks that she needs one last bit of help. She wants her friend's help to host a website on Azure, and here's how we can do it. So now we're going to put one of these services into action. So this is the Azure dashboard. So from here, we are going to create a virtual machine within which we are going to create a website. A very simple HTML website nonetheless. So let's get started. So first what we're going to do is create a resource group. So what a resource group is actually a repository of all the resources like virtual machines or storage that you're going to use in your project. So in this we need a virtual machine, so let's get that created. So first we'll name it demo East US and we'll create it. Now this will take a few seconds and that's it. So now that that's done, we go on add. So we're going to be using a Windows operating system, so we'll just search for virtual machine. We select this and create. Okay, so here we're going to select the resource group, the one that we just created, a virtual machine name. Okay, this storage and name. Passwords, and then just breeze through the rest of it. We can reduce the size, we don't need it this big. And create. Now that the validation is done, the next step is to create. Now this will take a few minutes, so we'll wait. And as you can see here, the virtual machine has been created. We'll go to resource. So here all we need to do is connect and download the RDP file. Let's see if we run this file and see what happens. Now this error shows up in a whole lot of systems that I've used. So there's a very easy way to troubleshoot this problem. So here's what you need to do. Now, so these are the problems. As remote access to the server is not enabled, the remote computer is turned off, the remote computer is not available on the network. So what we're going to do is go to networking and add an inbound port rule. Now we're trying to access a computer remotely, right? So to remotely access the computer, we would need to add an inbound port rule. So that's what we're going to do right now. So we can keep the source as any, port range as any, and our destination port as 3389. If you've noticed there, we'd actually have used the 3389 as the inbound port. And then we change the name as 3389. And this rule is added. Now after this is done, all we need to do, you can see here that if you refresh the page, this would be here. A new rule has been added now. So we'll go to overview and try to connect again. Do the same thing again. And this time it worked. So here we'll input the name and our password. And that's it. Now we just press yes. And there you go. The system has started. Now your virtual machine is started. Now in a while, the server manager will pop up. So there's some things that we need to do so that we can host the website. So the first thing is to create an inbound port. So we'll turn off the virtual machine for now. Come back to that later. First we'll go to our resource group. Check the name of our resource. And then we'll look at all its resources here. So here we need to find the network security group and add an inbound security rule. Press add. We take any source port range, and then we add port 80, which is the one that we're going to use, and we'll put the name as port 80. We'll add the security rule. It will take a few seconds, and that's that. Now it's allowed. Now let's go back to our virtual machine. Here you go. And let's get it started. Log in again. And there you have it. It's on again. Now we'll go to Server Manager. So we need to add roles and features. So most of this we can just run through. We'll leave them at the default values. Same. And here we need to add a web server, which is the IIS. So we'll select this. We add the features. Next. So we can add the .NET 3.5 features as well. Next. And we'll install now. Now we'll wait for the installation to finish. And now the installation is done. So now what we're going to see is if the website can be reached. Now we'll go to the public address, which is given here. So we've come back to our original system. Click. And you can see that the IIS page has been created. Now we need to work more to create the HTML page. Here's what we'll need to do to run our website. So right now what we're getting is this, the IIS page. Now let's make it our own HTML page, a very simple HTML page. From there on we can create the website. So we go back to the virtual machine and then we go to C drive. So the IIS is located in a location which is in C drive, initpub and www root. So if you click on this, actually what you'll get is the page I showed you earlier, which is this one. So now we'll go to the server manager, click on tools and find the IIS manager. So we click on this and sites. Now there's a default website. We can now add a new one. The site name, demo. We need a physical path. We'll put it inside the folder we just saw, which is right here, C drive, initpub, www root, within which we'll create a new folder for Simplilearn demo. We save it and port 80 and okay. Now this is assigned to another site, so we'll change that, but we'll wait for that. Okay. Now for this, we'll just change it. We'll click on this. So since both of them have the same port, we'll change that. Go here, edit binding. We'll change this to something else. Okay, and close. So now both are different, and now we can start our website. It's already started now. Now we'll start the website. Right click this, so manage website and start. And that's it. Now we will go to the initpub, www root, and we have Simplilearn demo. So here we will create the HTML website or the HTML the document. So index.html. Okay, open this. It's a very simple website now, so we keep it, save it. And so here what we're going to do is save as an HTML file, but for all files. We close this. Now to make sure this is recognized as a .html file, we'll go to view, options. Here we'll hide extensions for known file types. We'll just rename this. And there you have it. It's a .html file. Now let's go back to our original computer and run this page. And there you have it. Now this is just the initial version. More work has to be done on it, but your first step is already done. And that's it. With that, we've reached the end of another video. I hope you guys found this informative and helpful. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more from Simplilearn.
Hi there, if you like this video, subscribe to the Simplilearn YouTube channel and click here to watch similar videos. To nerd up and get certified, click here.